This is my presentation for my Japanese cultural project, and for mine I chose the art of origami, which is titled A Journey Through Paper. What is origami? The definition is a traditional Japanese art of folding paper, where the word comes from ori, to fold, and kami, paper. This simple art transforms a single sheet of paper into a sculpture without cutting or gluing, like this dragon right here. Although I think this is a different form of origami, where they use multiple sheets of paper. And overall, this art combines creativity, passion, and patience. Now, the history of origami it has roots around Japan in the 6th century and was influenced earlier by Chinese paper folding traditions. So you can see we have some ancient pictures and artworks of people teaching origami and how to do origami. It was back in the day used mainly for ceremonial and religious practices, and later on became a popular art form and hobby that many people, including myself, do and practice today. A lot of different origami stands with a lot of different cultural significance and meanings to the Japanese culture. For example, I have some here where the crane, or the tsuru, stands for good luck, peace, and happiness, whereas the sakana, the fish, represents freedom and well-being. And it goes on, and each different sculpture has their own significance to the Japanese culture. Some more recent cultures is it finding itself in the US, where a lot of times at weddings they'll have different origami flowers or a bunch of origami cranes, like in this photo here at this bride's wedding. Paper folding is seen as an act of mindfulness and care, is also a form of therapy, which is another use for it. Now, the paper crane in particular has a huge amount of cultural significance to Japanese culture. The crane is the most iconic, and it's immediately what you think of when you hear the word origami. According to legend, and I'll get more in this in the next slide, folding 1,000 paper cranes grants a wish of well-being and healing. But overall, it is now a global symbol of peace, the origami crane. Sadako and the Thousand Cranes is a popular book inspired by origami. Sadako is a young girl exposed to the radiation from the Hiroshima bombing, and she began to fold 1,000 cranes in hoping of granting a wish and healing powers from leukemia. Unfortunately, she did sadly pass away, but her story still lives on today, and she has still inspired millions, if not billions. A statue of her holding a crane stands in Hiroshima's Peace Park to this day, but I could not find a picture of it, unfortunately. But here is her book, and I recommend you read it. It's very inspiring. All right, now the types of origami. There's a few. Traditional origami, which includes animals, flowers, and boxes, which is this dragon over here, one sheet of paper, just to fold. There's modular origami, which is what we saw on the second slide. Many pieces combined to make one complex one, like this goose here. You can see each individual piece of paper forming the neck and the back here. Action origami, which is moving parts like flapping birds, or this one where it squishes up and extends out over and over again. And there's wet folding origami, which uses a damp paper for smooth sculpted curves, like this bowl here, which you can't really achieve the roundness without getting it wet. All right, the materials used traditionally They use a type of paper called a washi, which is more strong and textured than most other papers. It's usually colored and patterned with foil-backed papers. Paper thickness, texture, and size are all aspects that can affect the final product of the origami, so it's very important to choose the right kami and texture for your sculpture that you're making right now. Now there's many techniques to folding origami. They include valley folds and mountain folds. Those are the main two right here. I think about every single origami uses these two folds. And then there goes forward and forward into so many different more complex, like making 90-degree turns. So that'd be a swivel fold, squish folds, sink folds, and everything, all these different folds just to give your sculpture that much more depth and realism. All right, origami in modern Japan. Origami is taught in schools to encourage and focus in creativity. It remains a respected cultural tradition. Japanese artists push boundaries with large, complex works. As you can see, we have some inspiration from the Japanese show Pokemon, origami inspired right here. And it's also used in gift wrapping and ceremonial decorations. And in this bottom picture, we see a Japanese classroom teaching origami right here. In conclusion, origami reflects the beauty of Japanese culture, with the main aspects being simplicity, precision, and peace. What began as a spiritual practice grew into a global phenomenon. Paper folding can be both an art form, a symbol of hope, or even just a personal way to calm the mind. Origami shows how something simple can become something extraordinary. Like, I could not physically imagine you having a piece of paper and turning it into this dragon right here, or even some of these more simpler works of art right there. All right, well, here are my sources. Thank you everybody for watching, and I appreciate you all.